Hello everyone, it's 2 o'clock and we're going to get started. My name is Brian Wertman and I will be moderating today's webinar, presented by Bill Walter and Josh Beitler. To start off with some brief housekeeping, this user group will be recorded and we will be sending out slides and the recording to everyone here. If you have any questions during the webinar, you can use the chat box in your GoToWebinar panel and we'll take a moment to address them at the end of the webinar. You can use chat if you're having any technical issues and someone from Gross Mendelsohn will try and resolve your problem. To get things rolling, the moderator of today's webinar, I'd like to introduce myself. As I said, my name is Brian Wertman. I am an account executive at Gross Mendelsohn Technology Solutions Group. Our presenters, Bill Walter and Josh Beitler, are our technology experts that will help you learn how to leverage the power of Microsoft Office 365 to meet or exceed your productivity goals for 2018. I'll go ahead and let Bill start by introducing himself. Bill?
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Bill Walter with Gross Mendelsohn's Technology Solution Group. I've been with Gross Mendelsohn going on 15 years now, working through our progress to become a Microsoft Tier 1 CSP, which means we are tied in very tightly with Microsoft and all of their cloud offerings. And my co-presenter today is Josh Beitler. Josh, introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Josh Beitler with Gross Mendelsohn Technology Solutions Group. I've been at GMA for about 3 years and have been doing the 365 implementations for pretty much all that time as well. So I'm excited to talk about some of the things that 365 can do.
So what we're going to be covering today is what we feel are the top 5 underrated but most useful Microsoft applications. We're going to go through what we believe are going to be the best techniques for your organizations to use to help boost your productivity. We're also going to cover some situations that organizations like yours can use to leverage these applications and how they interact with each other. And along the way, we will try and impart to you some of the secrets we've found that'll help you keep your team moving in the right direction. As Brian mentioned previously, if you do have any questions, please enter it into the chat window. Also, if you have any problems, put it in there and we'll see what we can do to help. Josh, take it away.
Thanks, Bill. We're going to get started with Skype for Business, but before we do, we're going to pop off with a polling question. So grab your buzzers and let us know what you think. True or false? I only use Skype for Business for chat, video, and calls. Right? Awesome. Okay. So most of you say false. Awesome. Okay. Very good. So let's go ahead and let's get started with the Skype for Business, and we'll go over some of the items. In a study that was done by Symantec, they found 55% of employees who use an instant messaging platform at work say it cuts down on email traffic. And I don't know about you, but I would love to have less email. But some people go ahead and they like to have email as a reference for conversation tracking, checking old emails for references, things like that. The good news is Skype for Business does keep a historical record of all of your chats as well, so you can always go back and take a look at them. So instant messaging platforms have been around for a while. There used to be AOL Instant Messengers, probably one of the original ones. But 86% of users polled use Skype for Business for their chat feature. 66% of those users were using it for calls in 2016. Skype for Business also recently introduced an online PBX. So you could replace your hardwired phone system with this, but we'll go over that with a little bit more detail later. 60% of users use Skype for Business for video conferencing and calling, which actually we use that a good bit around here in the office too. So what are some of the ways that Skype for Business can help you and your organization? So complete, quick, secure file transfers. Right within the Skype for Business window, you can go ahead, pull up a colleague. You can transfer pictures, documents, PDF, zip files, etc. Just about anything, really. So there is a 500 megabyte limit to how much you can transfer. And actually, I don't think I've even come close to transferring anything that large. Skype will take these documents, pops it up on the recipient screen. It also will do a download to your documents folder, so you always have a copy of the file that was transferred. Screen sharing with user controls. So just like you have join.me or a GoToAssist program, Skype for Business does allow you to do screen sharing, which can be helpful if you're doing a presentation, if you're having a technical issue. You can provide support right there on the spot, which actually is really huge for a lot of our clients to be able to provide that support really quick. Conference calling. With Skype for Business, you can send out a meeting invite right from Microsoft Outlook, and you can send it to your recipients. They can call in. They can either use a telephone number to dial in, or they can actually use the app to go ahead and connect to the conference call, so everyone can join right in. And of course, it wouldn't be a fully connected program if it wasn't available on just about every application. So Skype is available for iPhone, Android, and Windows mobile devices. And for those of you who have Blackberries, it is available on a select number of BlackBerry Enterprise platforms. So back to the mobile app. You can still do the conference calling, you can still do the video chat, you can still do the file transfers, all right from the mobile app. It's fully functional, just like your Windows or Mac platform. So how does Skype for Business boost productivity? On-the-go questions that can be answered in seconds. If you have a large organization, multiple floors, you can ping somebody, or if you have people who are remote out in the field, this is a great tool to be able to allow you to keep in touch and communicate with them. The screenshots, screen sharing, again, a huge tool that can be used, and then also utilizing those video chats to keep in touch with remote people even across the sea. Weekly conference calls when staff is working in the office remotely or on the go. This is something we actually use right here at Gross Mendelsohn. Every week we have a conference call, and we use Skype for Business to host that call, and we can join whenever and wherever we are. And finally, staying connected so there is never a drop in communication. Like we said before, Skype for Business is available on PC and the Macintosh, as well as all the mobile platforms. So finally, that little bit that we had talked about, Skype for Business has the ability to take your existing landline connections. You can route them to Skype for Business in the cloud, and you can use it to effectively replace your office PBX is what it's called, your phone system. And that way everybody is tied in no matter where they are, mobile, in the office. Everything's fully available. It's a really cool feature that they've added recently. So we're going to go over Teams. Bill?
Thanks, Josh. So with Teams, it's Microsoft's new chat-based workspace. So you can collaborate with everybody in your organization. You can share documents in real time. It's seamlessly integrated into many of the Microsoft Office software you're already using. And what Teams is going to do for you is give you a single space where you can put together groups of people in your organization that are working on particular projects or particular initiatives, and give them room to be able to chat, exchange files securely, and keep everything in one place. Much like what Josh was saying before, Teams is also going to work on all your Windows-based machines, of course, but also Mac, Android, and everybody that has an iOS device as well. So the first thing that I want to go through with Teams is the fact that it is allows for your group conversations, just like a message board. It's a simple interface, and really the name of the game is collaboration, making sure everybody in your team, everybody on your group knows what's going on, who's doing what. And the way you keep things from getting out of hand is using this simple interface with that familiar look and feel of most all Microsoft products. So if this doesn't look familiar to you yet, just spend a little time to do the training, and don't worry, it will become familiar very quickly, like most Microsoft products do. One of the key features about Teams is the fact that it's integrated into the Office web apps, as well as your locally installed Excel, Word, and PowerPoint. Works with other file types as well if you're using PDFs or transferring zip files. And this also extends into other Microsoft services like Skype for Business, which we were just talking about. And everything with Teams, when you create a new team, also has a backend that's tied into Microsoft SharePoint. What it does for you is it puts a nice clean face on top of that SharePoint repository, so you don't have any extra layers of complexity. Now, this may seem to you like this is spreading your data around, it's going to expand your exposure to security risk, but that's not necessarily so. One of the core pieces about Microsoft Teams is that if set up properly, it's going to tie into your Microsoft Active Directory, your local security database you're already using. So the security you already have in place, once correctly configured and tied into your 365 tenant, is going to transfer seamlessly to what you're doing out in the cloud. So it's going to respond to your users the same as it would as if the files were locally stored on your server. You're going to have just about the same level of security, and in some cases, higher security. With all these integrated Office applications, it's going to pull together your team into a nice tight-knit group so that they can work together effortlessly. So the other piece about this is going to be where those files are stored. Like I mentioned, it does create a SharePoint repository, which is kept secure for your team, but it's also accessible in a number of different ways. But what this collaboration does, since it is in SharePoint, is it allows you to collaborate on a document in real time. Multiple users can be working on a single document at the same time. It'll track the different changes. It is a pseudo backup solution as well, because it will keep, if configured to do this, it'll keep multiple copies of that document, and again, track the changes, who did the changes, when they did them. And because it's built on top of SharePoint, you have the functionality where you can control what a user can do with that document down to the level of whether or not they can print it, whether or not they can send it an email, or if they can just view only, or if they have full control. So that gives you the secured and centralized document storage for your entire team. And again, it puts a nice, simple to use, but customizable face on top of these documents and the chats and everything else you'd be working with under Teams. So you get the full benefit of SharePoint without overwhelming your team with everything that SharePoint does. So with Teams being Microsoft's chat-centric workspace, and that allows your whole team to stay in touch no matter where they are or what device they're using, you can work in real time, collaborate on documents, make sure everybody knows what's going on. But here's a couple of the secrets behind what Teams can do for you. One of the key things is, even though it is keeping your whole team together, if you need to do a private one-on-one chat through this, you can easily do that. Teams also, a paradigm shift on the Microsoft product line is that Teams also integrates with other solutions you may already be using. Google Drive, Dropbox, other software applications that are not part of the Microsoft product family still integrate seamlessly with Teams. So one of the tips we want to let you know about, and this really goes with everything we're talking about today, is that all these different pieces works well with each other and the products you're already using. So this will tie into Microsoft Planner, which we're about to talk about, and some more of the third-party apps that you may already be using, Smartsheet and Zendesk, other tools that you can use to distribute specialized documentation. These still work with Teams and with Planner, which we're about to go into. And if you're new to Teams and want to learn about it quickly, there are a couple of different ways online, not just the pre-recorded sessions, but there are automated assistants. They call the two that I want to cover are Tbot and WhoBot. Both of those are easily searchable on the web, and you can go into them and either ask questions of the WhoBot, or the Tbot is more of the teacher side of things, where it will show you, you'll ask it about, or you'll go into the contents, and it will walk you through the different pieces of the application and show you through videos or through white papers how to work with the software. Next, we're going to do another polling question. What is the percentage of projects that fail due to poor communication? A couple more seconds here. One of this is actually a statistic that we've come across, where it's a huge percentage of projects failing because of communication, and that's why these software packages are so important. So the next thing I want to cover is Microsoft Planner. So anyone that's worked with Microsoft products and works on projects of any size has most likely heard about Microsoft Project. It's one of the top programs out there. It is a very large and detail-driven piece of software that can become unruly pretty quickly, and it takes a good bit of training to get up to speed with. But one of the nice things about Microsoft Planner from Office 365 is that it gives you all of the key features of Microsoft Project in a web-based format that is very easy to work with, and is already part of a lot of the Microsoft products you're already using if you're in 365. So Planner is the best of what Project has to offer, but in a fully cloud-based and universally accessible platform. So with it being easy to use, and also, of course, tying into all the other applications we've been talking about, it's just a good fit to help you get to the next level in managing projects. So this quote here is all about focusing on efficiency. No matter the size of the project, the best use of the time you have is going to be spent on planning. We want to keep organized. That's definitely key, and use tools that are collaborative so we can keep everybody involved. And Microsoft Planner is one of the biggest additions to the 365 lineup that's going to get you headed in that direction. So Planner has a very clean interface. So it lets you organize your projects and share project-specific information. You can assign tasks and interact with everyone on the project from one interface and one dashboard. That single pane of glass is the repetitive phrase you hear time and time again. What you see here is a simple bucket. That bucket can be as complicated or as simple as you need it to be. You can have a single task on there. That task can have dependencies set on it so that one task has to be completed before the next one happens. Inside of that bucket, you can have multiple tasks. You can add checklists into the task and links to your documents or links to anything important to that task. That bucket can be assigned to a resource. You, of course, set due dates, and you can have workflows that help people go through each of these tasks and buckets. So since this is built from the ground up to integrate with other useful software and services throughout the Microsoft product line, you can share documents securely with your project team. Again, this ties into SharePoint, and it puts a nice, simple interface, single pane of glass on top of everything that SharePoint's doing for you. But if SharePoint is something you're already using, you can tie into that to help bolster what you're doing here with Microsoft Planner. So the buckets created can also link to other buckets and tasks in whatever direction you need. It can be made to, you can add details as you go. It is very adaptable. So if you need to make a change midstream, it's no problem. And you can also separate out each of your projects and assign to whatever team member you need to keep things organized as the project progresses. So project management software has the greatest positive impact on team communication, according to a survey by Capterra. So no matter the size of the project, you have to stay organized, and everyone on the team needs to be informed of where the project stands, where their responsibilities lie, and that's the only way you're going to keep things on track. So using products like Teams and Planner are going to show you what you've been missing. It's definitely worth the small amount of time it'll take to get up to speed with the product, and it's going to make it easier for you to keep moving in the right direction. And because everybody's already been working with Microsoft products for so long, it should be a nice effortless migration into using these new products. Now we're going to go back to Josh, who's going to tell us about OneDrive.
Thanks, Bill. So, what is OneDrive? OneDrive is your personal cloud storage. The easiest way to correlate that is to Dropbox, except with OneDrive, because everything is tied together with 365, it makes storing, sharing, and collaborating really, really easy. So, in a recent study, 6 in 10 employees agreed that cloud-based collaboration is changing the way people work together. The same study also concluded that improved access to information, including real-time analytics, will help employees make better informed decisions. So OneDrive allows you to share whatever files you wish with coworkers, friends, etc. And OneDrive can be used across the platforms: PC, Mac, mobile devices. When you have those documents shared out to coworkers or friends, you can do real-time collaboration, as Bill was saying, just like with Teams. It'll show you who's making an edit at the time, who made the edits. Versioning is all included as a part of the 365 piece. Excuse me. And if configured, you can take your OneDrive files to people even outside your organization. It's not just limited to people inside your Office 365 tenancy. And just in case you're wondering, if at some point in time you do decide to retract permissions, or you don't want to have someone have access to something, you can always retract that at a later date, no problem. So since these files are stored on the Microsoft servers, they are always backed up. So this means that you don't necessarily have to worry about your hard drive crashing, losing all your documents. And in the event that, let's say you did accidentally delete something out of OneDrive, those items are still in your online recycle bin and recoverable for up to 30 days. According to Microsoft, the ability to work how, where, and when a user likes and still be able to share information and best practices promises to increase productivity. And that brings us into SharePoint. So when I say SharePoint, sometimes you'll see people kind of cringe a little bit because a lot of people are kind of intimidated by SharePoint, its capabilities, thinks it's kind of complex. But today, Microsoft SharePoint really, it's not all that scary. It's relatively easy to administer, and it's a fantastic tool to your organization. And what it does is it brings organization. So as of 2013, Microsoft was adding approximately 20,000 SharePoint users every day to their tenancy. And as of 2013, 80% of Fortune 500 companies were using Microsoft SharePoint as well. So SharePoint is designed for organization. SharePoint facilitates productivity. But what exactly does that mean? What can you do with SharePoint? So department sites, for example, departments can have their own kind of website, which allows everyone to get together and centrally store documents. You can have for example, a frequently asked question page, maybe for new hires, announcements, department announcements, things along those lines. You can customize just about any one of those SharePoint pages to whatever the department sees fit, and that works for your organization. Because everything is tied together with Office 365, the OneDrive files, the Skype for Business, online collaborations, it is all in that one spot. Even if you're on the go, you're out in the field, maybe you're out at a hotel, for example, you can use the online version and log in, and your workplace is right there. You've got access to all your online versions of Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all your OneDrive documents. Even Skype for Business is available through the web version. And you don't have to install anything at all. You log in, and as long as you have a functioning web browser, you've got everything that you need to do to work anywhere. So individual site and tenancy search information. Like Bill was saying, SharePoint has all this stuff everywhere. Someone might think it's quite easy to let something get lost or misplaced. Microsoft has fantastic search capabilities within SharePoint. It's actually called Microsoft Delve, and it allows you to search file names, subjects. You can even get as granular as having it search the contents of a document, so you can always find where you're looking for, whether it be in an individual site, or if you want to search the entire tenancy, you can do that as well. And finally, one of the coolest things, at least I think so, that you can do with SharePoint is you have an app store, just like you would have on like your Mac or on your Android or iOS device. You can install or link programs, platforms, like site automation tools, calendars, all types of stuff that you can tie to individual departments or the entire tenancy. And the majority of them are free of charge. But if they're not free, they're really, really cheap, like $20. It's pretty cool. So we'll move to polling question number 3, true or false. Using SharePoint contacts outside of your organization boosts security. Here. Okay, So most of you answered true to that. Depending on what those contacts are or the what you're sharing, it most certainly can. But like I said, SharePoint is flexible enough that if you need to revoke security permissions, anything like that, you can do it instantly, really, which makes it a fantastic tool for organizing, sharing, collaborating, etc. So if you have any questions inside of your chat panel, you can post those and we will take a look and do our best to answer those questions for you.
All right. We have a question in, and it's, do these applications come with my Office 365 subscription?
I'll take that one. So it does come with a lot of the subscriptions that are out there. If you're using Business Essentials, Business Premium, Enterprise E1, 3, or 5 products, most of what we're talking about today is included with your subscription. Pieces of this can be added on, but really that question is something you can send our way, and we can look at specifically what you're using and what you're looking to get. We'll make sure it's part of what you're looking for.
Okay, we have another one in here. It's, if I buy one service today, but find out that I need to add on another service tomorrow, can I change my licensing? Anyone want to take that one?
Yep, I'll take that one. The answer to that, short, quick, easy, yes. If you want to bolt on something, you just add it to your licensing queue and you start to work with it right away. It's very flexible.
I'm going to chime in just for a second because it's actually yes and no. Because the second part of the question is about the penalty, whether or not you get assessed the penalty. And Microsoft does, depending on what contract you sign up with, you do sometimes get, there is a warning that a penalty can be charged. In every instance where we have changed the license, that penalty has been waived, especially if you're moving from one product to the other. They're very forgiving. So one of the key pieces about all the Microsoft Cloud products is that they're extremely flexible. So keep it in mind that they will allow you to move to where you need to be as needed.
All right, and we have another one. Does Microsoft have a free trial for any of these products?
Yes, Microsoft does have free trials available for almost all of the products that are out there.
All right, and here's another one. Does Planner work with people outside your organization?
I'll take that one. So Planner does allow you to interact with people outside your organization. Actually, most of the products we were talking about today, SharePoint, Skype, all of them do allow you to interact, but it is with a limited subset of functionality. You will not get the full functionality of the product unless you have a license for each user. But Skype, for instance, you can have a Skype meeting where you call people that are outside your tenant that don't have any Microsoft products. They'll still be able to connect and chat with you.
All right, we have another one. Lots of questions today. How likely is it that I'll lose documents from file sharing? Are they backed up anywhere?
It is not likely that you'll lose any documents from file sharing. When you do share it out, you have the ability to set the permissions and say, you know, this user can only edit, this user can only read. So you can set those permissions. And again, as we stated earlier, if something does get deleted, it'll go into the online recycle bin, and you can still recover that for 30 days.
Thanks, Josh. We have another one in here. Can you use Skype with people outside your organization?
Yeah, that kind of looped into the other question we had, or at least my answer looped this one in. But most all of the cloud services that we've been talking about today and the other ones included with the 365 subscriptions do allow you to interact with clients outside the organization or outside your 365 tenant. The only thing is there will be some limited functionality, but you can interact with people outside of your Microsoft tenant.
We got one more here. How easy is it to get acquainted with these products?
I'll take that one. It is very easy to get acquainted with the products. Like we were saying, the entire web interface and all the programs and platforms are very intuitive, very easy to use. It looks like all the other Microsoft products that you're already used to using. In the form of like when you're using some of the platforms on Mac, same thing. It is catered to be a very user-friendly interface on all the platforms.
All right. Well, if there's no more questions, we've reached the end of today's webinar. I want to start by thanking our presenters, Bill and Josh, for joining us today. Getting a chance to learn from their many years of experience is always a treat. If you'd like to reach out to any of our experts with further questions or comments, you can always contact with the information on the screen, which will be up in a second. To get in touch with me at Gross Mendelsohn, feel free to shoot me an email, bwertzman@gma-cpa.com. You can see it on the screen right there, or give me a call, 410-685-5512. And as a final reminder, we'll be sending out these slides in the webinar recording to everyone that was on today. I'll leave our contact information on the screen for another few minutes in case you need to jot anything down, just so you can ask questions later. Thanks again for attending, and please feel free to reach out at any time. If you have any questions, we're always available.